Richardson up ahead, look out. Hello, Amari Stoudemire elevates and detonates.
Welcome in, Planeteers. We're a little bit late today. I suppose it's because I probably should have sent Bruce the actual link. And we're off without the Thriller from Manila. He has an off day, so really it was totally on me on this one. As I just sat there, I was like, I don't know why Bruce isn't showing up. He's got to get this thing together, man. And then he's like, so do you want to let me in the studio or? There it is. But the Bruiser from Boston himself. How you doing, Bruce?
I'm doing good. I'm really excited to talk about the Phoenix Suns. After last night's performance, I almost tweeted this out, but I was very excited to hop on Planet Pod, kind of break down and talk this team because the last couple of weeks we've been kind of Debbie Downers with this squad. But in this recent bias, we've been pretty good right now. So I'm very excited.
I don't understand it. I think I said we were going to go 3-1. I think I said we'd go 3-1, and you and Kevin, I think we're just like, no, it's not going to go well. And I'm like, totally, we're going on a run. I was lying. I didn't expect it at all. It was hopeful for it. But what a difference that we can make. It's just very interesting to see this kind of like little, I guess, mini run. Fun fact. Do you remember, maybe you do, I know you do some writing for Bright Side of the Sun. When was the last time the Suns won 3 games in a row?
Oh, I don't know. I know I saw from John that they won. The last 2 was in January or something like that. My guess would be that 3 would be last year, right? It probably wouldn't be this year.
I thought so at first, but actually that January date that he was looking at was also it goes from 2 to 3. I looked it up. January 27th. We had just finished beating the LA Clippers after we beat up on the Brooklyn Nets and the Washington Wizards, really a powerhouse. And actually, it doesn't feel that much different. And Nets, of course, not a great team. Wizards, not a great team. Clippers are currently a playoff team. And so what did we do? We went out and just beat the heck out of the Toronto Raptors, not a good team. Chicago Bulls, not really a good team. But the best team in the league, arguably. I know the Boston and you, the Bostonians, going to be a little frustrated with that. So Cleveland, though, Cavaliers, full strength Cleveland Cavaliers against our not full strength Phoenix Suns. No Bradley Beal, no Mason Plumlee, no Nick Richards, where the Suns ended up having to play Oso Ighodaro, not just in the starting lineup, Bruce, but for 44 minutes in that game last night. We ended up coming away with the win. We'll touch on all of these games, plus the start of the week, the LA Lakers game. But let's touch on that real quick because that was kind of – we had just finished coming off of the win against the Kings. Felt like a nice little victory there to go up against no LeBron James – Luka-led LA Lakers, where it was same old, wasn't it?
Yeah, you mentioned the LeBron-less Lakers. Many Suns fans, including myself, thought that this could possibly be a chance for them to kind of get into some striking distance. But Luka Doncic, I believe, only had 2 less points than the Suns did in the entire first quarter, which is kind of crazy when you say that out loud in a sentence. And it's crazy to just analyze this team at this week because we see them at the beginning of this week looking so horrible and looking so beat down and looking like, the same old Suns that we had kind of seen. But then getting later into this week with these, changes and new revamps and stuff like that, we've actually been able to see the explosion of this actuality of this Suns team. And I believe this was the first game Cody Martin got to get his little fingertips kind of into the games for the Suns, even though it was some limited
minutes in the game.
Yeah, just it was a little bit, but that was the kind of first taste.
Just the tip. Bud actually obviously ended up liking it enough to go the distance. It didn't stay just the tip in the next games. But let's be honest, that loss to the Lakers where we went down 15-31 in the first quarter Bradley Beal ends up going down to injury in that game, changed the record on that one. Same story, different chapter, unfortunately. Yeah, the Suns just it just seemed like more of the same. Couldn't figure out what to do. And then as soon as we do start figuring out, okay, we have to start whittling away at this lead. We're down 20 points. We got to start chipping away. We go on a little run, maybe 6 in a row, 8 in a row. And it's just too much at that point. We don't play consistently good defense to the point where we're able to evaporate double-digit leads very often anymore.
Yeah, that's the tough part with that game there is, unfortunately, as I mentioned, we still got to see some changes, right? We got to see Ryan Dunn still implemented. We still got to see some of these guys involved in this game, but it just wasn't enough. And it felt like at this point, we had kind of seen ourselves kind of off after these wins, kind of in this playoff race, you know what I mean? Kind of as that 8 seed having some life. But then with this Lakers game, it felt a little deflating, like we were kind of put back to square one once again. Mm-hmm. But luckily, that wasn't the full case.
Right. Well, as I mentioned, then we go into Toronto, and I'll be honest. We've talked a little bit about. Sorry, my computer's slowing down a bit here. We talked a little bit about how the Toronto Raptors have given us problems in the past. They're young, they're athletic, they're long, and Scotty Barnes was playing a lot of minutes for him. I mean, well, I'll put it this way. It's interesting to see the Raptors right now because it was right after this game, which was we clobbered them, quite honestly. Basically it was 40 points. Yeah. 40-point victory, 129-89. And that was with us down after the first quarter, 29-24. I thought, here we go again. I would not have guessed that we were going to come back and after that first quarter and pour on a difference of 45 more points. I mean, Scotty Barnes played over 30 minutes. Emmanuel Quickley played over 30 minutes. They don't have a lot of other players right now. Brandon Ingram has the worst sprained ankle of all time. RJ Barrett is I don't know what's going on with him, but he's not doing anything for my fantasy team, and we're in the playoffs right now. So really hate RJ Barrett right now. A video came out not long after this game, and it was basically the Toronto Raptors are going to be under investigation, like a lot of other teams, although they've kind of taken a different approach. The NBA is investigating tanking teams right now who are not playing, who are resting key players. The Utah Jazz, I know, are under investigation. And, of course, there's not a massive penalty that goes with this. The NBA has been trying to fight this for a while to say, hey, we got a product to run out there on the floor. Fans are paying money. We've got TV deals. You have to play your guys. But you can't also say, if somebody is sore or twisted an ankle, you can't tell, the NBA can't say, well, we don't think it's that serious, so he should be playing, and you got to play him 36 minutes a game. So some teams are definitely we're looking for Cooper Flag, so we're just going to tank and we're going to rest. We need so much rest right now. It's such a long season and we're not going to the playoffs, so definitely rest your players. The Toronto Raptors are trying it a little bit different. They are playing guys and then just resting them, early into the fourth quarter. I think with Scotty Barnes the other night went out with like 9 minutes left in a somewhat close game and just didn't return. And it's like, okay, they're playing all their guys. It's just like in clutch times, they're not going to try and come away with the win. So I don't know. What's your thoughts on that? Like, would you rather, do you appreciate essentially the Raptors approach to it as like, we're going to play our best guys. And if we don't beat you within three and a half quarters, then we're going to wave the white flag?
I don't mind it. Yeah, I think it's kind of a cool way to kind of go at the tank method. Like you mentioned, I had seen this development over the last couple games with the Toronto Raptors, and you see that they get played and then they just get rested. I think for the fans, it's kind of a good thing because if you're going to see those late games, at least you're still getting to see those players play. I know that a major gripe with it, with the load management of these players resting, is that these fans travel and who knows, bought tickets months in advance from another country and could go in April. And unfortunately, because it's the end of the season, they don't get to see that star player play. And that's the whole reason they went on their trip. So I do like that the Raptors are kind of doing this and bringing that out for them. For the Suns, this was the big Oso Ighodaro game that I really like to talk about because he was absolutely phenomenal in this game. If you look at the stats, 9 points, 9 rebounds, 4 assists, 1 steal, 1 block, but a plus 39 for Oso Ighodaro in a game where Nick Richards and Mason Plumlee were both minuses, which was really key. And this is where it kind of showcased that he kind of fit on the court for this Suns team and really stick as, this distributor, as this low post scorer, as this rebounder. And I think a lot of Suns fans were really frustrated with Ryan Dunn, and not really a lot of fans had understood how impactful Oso Ighodaro could be, but this game really showcased them, especially specifically versus a weaker, kind of tanking team like the Raptors, to allow Oso Ighodaro to really bring out his qualities. Definitely allowed them to kind of see what he could bring for this team, and I think sparked a little bit more uproar for him as well into this game.
Absolutely. We'll transition. I almost forgot to mention, we also had a Vasily Micic appearance in this game. He had over 5 minutes. That shows you how much we blew this team out. That Vasily actually got to get in, and he did, in his 5 minutes and 32 seconds, he had 0 points, 2 rebounds, 0 assists, 0 blocks, 0 steals. Vasily Micic, everyone, he is on the team. Let's go now to the Chicago Bulls, which are in an interesting position. I'm not going to say the Chicago Bulls are good. But the Chicago Bulls, I kind of feel bad for the fan base because, as Michael P. says in the chat, I'd rather see my team tank for a great pick if the season is a wash. And I feel like, I'm in Des Moines, Iowa. We're about a 5-hour drive from Chicago. I grew up with, the Bulls, of course, Bulls mania in the 90s. If you were looking at the NBA and you were in the Midwest, you were a Bulls fan pretty much for the most part. I was the outsider picking Charles Barkley at the time. The Bulls, though, I feel like that fan base is just like, can we please try and lose games? Because the Bulls and Bulls coaching, Bulls management, who's ever kind of pulling the strings and making these like strategic decisions are just like, no, we're going to try and compete for that play-in tournament spot and, see kind of what ends up happening. So they're competitive, I guess is how I would describe it. Right now, as I pull up the standings, Bulls are ninth in the East, so they would be in the play-in tournament. They're trying to get that last spot in the playoffs, or trying to sneak into the top 8 as well. And they have players that are, I'd put it this way, nobody is great on that team that really scares me. I mean, like, for example, we can sit there and see a Kevin Durant and a Devin Booker take over a game on any given night and just go off. They have good players. I feel like Vucevic is a good player. Kobe White is a good player. Kevin Huerter is solid, but no one really scares me. But it's still, hey, we came away with the win, and a win that we almost blew. I'll put it that way. Suns ended up winning 127-121. The Bulls outscored us 37-28 in that fourth quarter, made it a little bit scary. And I don't know, were you at all a little nervous there that we're going to revert back to old Suns ways? Yeah,
there's some times where I get scared, with this Phoenix Suns team. We even saw it in last night's game as well versus Cleveland, where they kind of brought it back late in that game as well. But for the Suns here, it's just great to see them continuing this win streak, continuing this pattern, taking care of the I guess in this strong schedule, the weakest teams in this strong schedule, I would say, with the Bulls and the Raptors, at least not splitting it like they did last time, taking good care of them this time. Booker, 41 points, once again, absolute fantastic showing from him, and we're seeing him and Kevin Durant kind of once again sharing these great performances back to back with these new lineups and with this new revamped defensive energetic team, which I really like. Ryan Dunn played fantastic once again. Oso Ighodaro played solid, and you had Cody Martin once again. The stats sometimes might not show offensively what he's been able to do, but he clogs those passing lanes. He's in the right place at the right time. He's making the right moves, getting key blocks. I don't know if it was this game or if it was the Raptors game, but in one of those games he was injected, and right when he was injected into the lineup, he got a block 5 seconds after he came into the game, which is just the infectious energy you want to see brought out from your role players and some of these guys and put onto these stars. I think this game as well, we saw 3 wings play. When was the last time you saw 3 wings on the Phoenix Suns play at the same time? We've been complaining about the 3 guard lineups. We finally get to see the 3 wing lineups. I'm just so ecstatic to see that this little turnaround here.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying not to get too excited, but that's the fate of a Phoenix Suns fan, especially this year, where all of a sudden a 3-game win streak feels just like it's the greatest thing. You might as well call it a 10-game win streak. We are dominating right now. We beat the 9th seed in the East, and also the Cleveland Cavaliers, and we put a hurt on the Toronto Raptors. But yeah, I mean, there's 10 more games, roughly 12 more games to go, something like that, and so we've got more work to do. But again, this win against the Bulls came without Bradley Beal. And he's kind of taking a little bit of a perception hit. I think John Voida of Bright Side of the Sun and Suns Jam tweeted out that Kevin Durant and Devin Booker, I think they said 12-3 when they play together, but Bradley Beal does not play with them. Take that for what you will. I still think Beal's a good player, but that the stats are showing up. And it kind of reminds me of? It reminds me a little bit of the Memphis Grizzlies from 2 years ago when Ja Morant was missing a handful of games, and the Grizzlies, I think they had a higher winning percentage with Ja Morant not on the team or not with the team than they did with him actually playing. And that was just kind of interesting little statistical note there. At the time, they were being led by a point guard named Tyus Jones.
Yes.
I want that Tyus Jones on the team. But no, again, good win for the Suns, and 41 points from Devin Booker was mentioned. A great game from him, which had Durant stands very upset. It should only be Kevin Durant. We should be thankful to the KD stands always that KD acknowledges the Phoenix Suns. I feel like I don't know if you saw any of that Twitter beef back and forth with the Booker stands and the KD stands, but it got a little bit louder until we finished last night strong, and then it was okay. We're on a 3-game win streak. It's harder to complain now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I didn't really see much of the Booker stands and the KD stands beef, but I did see some beef on Twitter between the fan base, I guess you could say.
John Gambadoro, the Arizona radio, man with all of his connections. John Voida, I know as well. I saw it as well. But basically, they had pointed out, I think it was back with, was it during the Toronto game, I think maybe that, or maybe it was the Kings game, but either one. Basically, KD sat for like 8.5 minutes, and the Suns went on like a 18-2 run or something like that, and just really locked in defensively. So somebody pointed out, hey, KD is off the court, and the Suns are doing really well. And apparently, if KD then sees that later and tweets at you, and he's like, yeah, you don't understand basketball, that is like code to have like all of his fans go after everyone that tweeted out like that stat. It kind of reminded me of like when Elon Musk says something or like tweets back at somebody. If somebody's like, I disagree with your position, and Elon Musk like, well, you're an idiot. Then that other person has like 50 other comments being like, yeah, such an idiot. And I'm like, do you guys think that he noticed? Like, yes, do go after him, my fan. So I don't know. It's Twitter's a strange place. It's a toxic environment.
100%. It's 100% toxic.
But it's not toxic. A win against the Cleveland Cavaliers, where it wasn't just a win. It was 123-112. Suns took a 11-point lead into the first half, and were able to maintain it in the second half. And again, a full-strength Cleveland Cavaliers, Jarrett Allen, Darius Garland, Donovan Mitchell, Evan Mobley, and the Suns, again, without Mason Plumlee, without Nick Richards, without Bradley Beal, without Grayson Allen. If I was going to tell you that we were going to win by 11 points against the Cleveland Cavaliers, and I told you those guys would not be playing, would you believe me?
Nope. I remember when the game started, I kind of tweeted out the injury report, and I had some people in my comments basically saying we were going to lose. And I kind of agreed with them. I was just like, the Cavs are already on a 3-game losing streak. We have all these injuries.
We'll move to the next game. Yeah.
Yep. We all kind of were like, we'll move on to the next game. But luckily for all of us, we didn't have to deal with that. We didn't have to go with that. And we got a blessing. The Suns were up almost 20 or at least 20 points on this Cavaliers team at some points in the third quarter, which was just crazy to see, just a complete turnaround. And it all starts with the rotation changes and these lineups and how this team truly is built. And I said this before, I just said this in my recent Suns Digest video, but the Suns have too many scores. They have too many people that need the ball in their hands. And that was the whole reason why the trade deadline, they were looking to add Jimmy Butler. They needed that defensive player. They needed that type of role player. It didn't necessarily need to be Jimmy, but it just needed to be someone like that because his name was on the market. That's why he was talked about. But Cody Martin has been that defensive piece that has been added. Ryan Dunn has been that defensive piece that's been added. Oso Ighodaro, who many people thought was just an offensive big, including myself, his defensive impact has been added with this Suns team. And it just made this team look so much better on the court and on paper as well with the stats, as you can see with Kevin Durant and Devin Booker's stats with playing with these guys. Even adding Colin Gillespie to this lineup has done wonders. And it's crazy to see that this is like the best version of the Suns we're seeing, and we're seeing it in the toughest schedule with 15 games left. It's just ridiculous to say that.
Yeah, better late than never.
No, well, for sure.
Let's talk about Cody Martin again real quick because he finally got in. I guess he's finally healthy. Let's see. His most recent games here for the Suns, let's see. He's played now in 4 games. He most recently starting with this Cavaliers game and going back 4 points, 7 points, 2 points, 3 points. He is shooting an electric 30% from the field, 9.1% from 3-point range, but 4.8 rebounds, and perhaps the biggest number, the most important number, a couple of steals a game. All this in 4 games. So as Michael P. says, is Cody an unexpected, underrated pickup? What's your thought? I mean, as you heard, he's not hitting. He wouldn't hit water if he fell out of a boat right now in terms of scoring. But that's not, as you point out, the Suns have scorers.
Yep.
They need to do other things.
And another stat that I want to bring up as well with Cody Martin, I saw John tweet about it, so I wanted to mention this. He has 2 charges taken already, I believe, for the Phoenix Suns. And I believe before that, he was I think he's one of the leading charge takers for the Suns team already as an impact player. So that's just another crazy stat to mention. But I would say that he's not really underrated because I feel like a lot of people knew he could bring this value. He was just on the Charlotte Hornets, but he was basically Josh Okogie, just a little bit bigger in size and could play that wing position, whereas Josh is, a little bit smaller at that, tweener between the guard, that 2 guard and that 3. But I just saw Cody Martin as just the replacement for Josh Okogie. They still needed that added defense, and Martin has that size, not to mention his brother, Caleb Martin, has been very impactful for those Miami Heat teams. Now he's on the Dallas Mavericks, has been kind of injured this year, but the Martin brothers, when they were in college at Nevada, were good switch defenders, good, playable guys to put alongside other talented wings. And that's what this Suns team has needed. It's been, like we mentioned, too many dominant guard lineups with Tyus Jones, Bradley Beal, Devin Booker, all these scorers, all these offensive players out there that are just standing there, either in the corner or getting targeted on defense. And that's not what this Suns team needs. This Suns team needs those defenders. And unfortunately, the roster doesn't really have them top to bottom. So it's very slim at the guys that you really have to really play. But I would definitely say that Martin has been unexpected for Phoenix Suns fans because I don't think everyone expected him to be this impactful, alongside the rookies.
I mean, at this point, as we've seen Bud do in strange moments throughout this season, he just decides to randomly play a player for a bit. And the way he's been coaching, I would not be shocked if Cody Martin is benched for the next 10 straight. It doesn't, there's not a lot of rhyme or reason. And that actually kind of transitions us into something that I was going to ask you about, and that is Bol. When I heard that Mason was out and Nick Richards was out, I thought, okay, Oso Ighodaro is not going to be able to play 46 minutes or what he ended up playing, 44 minutes. There's just no way of that. We're going to see some Bol and some Kevin Durant at the 5. Bud really didn't do that. 44 plus minutes for Oso. So there's a little bit of small ball 5, but Bol did not even get onto the court to play. He was having some really good moments. He was not injured. Can you explain to me why we go through this with Bol and what does Bud? What is Bud just like that girl that like you say one thing wrong and she just hates you all of a sudden again? You're like, what? And then she puts you into the like, I'm not talking to you again for a while, and then she'll eventually talk to you later, but she's got to cool off for a bit. Is that basically Bud? Is Bud just like a scorned woman?
I don't know, man. Bud confuses me to all realms, honestly, because I don't understand the different like rotations. I know that they've had injuries, so there have been so many different sporadic rotations because of that. But you mentioned Bol. Now, he's a player that was brought in, was looking very solid over those last couple of games, had not looked the best. And I think that with this Suns team, they kind of were utilizing him as that power forward alongside Richards and Durant because they were bringing in the size to compensate for that defense. And I think I mentioned that on here as well, that that was their kind of like solution to the defensive problems. And I think Mike Budenholzer realized that didn't really work. So that's why he's gone with the other guys. Now, you mentioned Bol not playing last night. That's someone that I also thought was going to get some playing time. I tweeted
especially against Jared Allen and Evan Mobley. I mean, the Cavaliers are non-traditional. They go big. Other teams are like, we'll go small ball 5 and spread it out. And the Cavs are like, we will have huge size up front. We will punish you inside. And Suns held their own and didn't use size back, I guess.
Yep, 100%. And that was, I think, the kind of thing that really threw a lot of people off. I definitely expected Bol, even if it was, for like 8 to 10 minutes, just as, as a backup big, just to get out there and get some rebounds, kind of be that physical interior presence alongside them. But I'm guessing that with Oso Ighodaro, they just felt more comfortable with his ability to switch, his ability to play alongside Durant and Dunn and kind of help out and be that like engine with the passer in the low post compared to Bol. Bol, unfortunately, doesn't really stay down low. He's going to stay on the 3-point line. So without having Mason or Nick Richards to kind of play alongside of him, I don't think he can really stagnantly be like the same 5. Like he's going to be playing outside on the 3-point line. So maybe that was the reason why. But they could have went with, I guess, Bol and Oso at the same time. Maybe do some little bit of that.
Not so much
kind of combat the size.
Play the center like a traditional like low post or something like that. But I figured that you don't usually take a second round rookie who occasionally gets minutes, but not always. You don't usually hand him 44 minutes in a game against the best team in the league and just say, good luck. Maybe at some point you're like, oh, I bet you're tired.
Yep.
And Kevin Durant doesn't traditionally like to play, a lot of post defense either. I mean, he doesn't do poorly at it, but he's okay. But like, hey, we're going to send Bol in to help you out a little bit, Oso, or, to give you a little bit of time off. So just surprised that he kind of disappeared. And for his sake, I see some of the Planeteers are in agreement, Bol, he does. He gets the crowd on their feet. Not so sure if it's the same with the team and as the team energy build, or is it just the crowd energy? But just because I really am kind of over Coach Bud, I'm just going to say that it's not your fault, Bol.
Look!
It's Bol.
And I'm sure we'll see him again at some point this season. So just hang in there, Bol. There's no method. I think we all used to tease Coach Bud, except for when he obviously won the championship against us. But when he told his team, just go out and play random. Just go out and play random. I think that's how Bud coaches. I think he coaches random. And honestly, at some points, I don't even know if he's actually coaching the team. I saw from So Says Jay of Fanning the Flames was sent out that video showing Devin Booker not only telling people where to go from the sidelines, standing up and coaching his teammates, but there was a moment where it also looked like he was calling the timeout from the sidelines as well. And then kind of Bud shuffled over, and he was kind of off camera, but I hope he did it because I don't think the players are supposed to actually be able to call the timeout from the bench.
Yeah, I don't think so. But I saw that video from Sosa's J. That was kind of hilarious. I saw it yesterday pop up, and I was laughing.
I might be okay with it. If we're able to get these 3 wins, and it's because Booker's actually coaching the team instead of Bud, I'm okay with it. But let's see. Well, we talked about Cody a little bit. We talked about Bowl. But I've got a fun little game. I'm going to read off some player nicknames.
Okay.
You're going to tell me who they are. But first, let's hit the boom room.
What's the name of that nightclub of yours again?
You talking about the Boom Boom Room?
Yeah, the Boom Boom Room. That's it. Yeah.
Okay, I've got 5 player nicknames here. And yes, it's all on Basketball Reference, so nobody go check it out. If you'd like to participate, just go ahead and write it in the comments here. But I'll start, Bruce, with hopefully an easy one. Who on the team, and this includes our two-way players, apparently goes by the name Vasa?
Oh, that's Vasily Micic, of course.
Okay. See, I wanted to warm you up. Let you hit some free throws before jumpers.
Yeah, I saw they put Vasa as his name on the injury report last night, and I was like, they didn't even spell his name out. They just
really?
Vasa Micic. So
that's how much we like this guy. Mm-hmm. What's your name? Vasily Micic. Yeah, we're just gonna put Vasa. We're gonna put Vasa down. So Vasa, yes, that was him. Okay, how about who is Big Meal?
Big Meal?
Big Meal.
I'm gonna go with Nick Richards, just because it kind of makes sense.
Think he's the Big Meal?
I guess, yeah.
Swing and a miss. Royce O'Neal, aka Big Meal.
Okay, that
Royce O'Neal.
That makes sense. I didn't think of it like that.
All 6'4", 226 pounds.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
If he's Big Meal, then I'm fucking buffet. All right, next one, and actually these next few actually have multiple ones. So if you don't get it right away, I might give you their other nickname. Okay. All right. Let's see. What would be the most difficult one first? How about apparently Tay?
Tay?
Mm-hmm.
Monte Morris.
Ooh, very good. Tay also goes by Man, Big Game, and of course the Count of Monte Asisto.
Okay, that would have been. I would have not gotten any of the other ones.
All right. How about Debo?
Debo.
Which reminds me of the movie Friday.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's what it reminds me
a long time ago.
Debo. I'm gonna go Damian Lee.
By the way. But I call him Vaseline. we had Plumlee guess for Big Meal. And then who did you think it was? Damian Lee?
Damian Lee.
For Debo. And Suns Fever says it's Ty. That is incorrect. No. This man also goes by the name G Money.
G Money? Okay, so that would be one of two people, I feel like. We'll go Grayson.
Grayson Allen, that's right. Apparently, I wonder always where this comes from. Like, I always think there's just some random guy being like, I'm going to put Debo and see if I can't get this like to catch on. I do not. I want to meet the first player that was just like, Debo, pass me the ball. And Grayson Allen's like, who the hell is that? That's you. You're Debo. I call you Debo. Okay. So this next one, I'm trying to think which one will be the biggest challenge. Let's see. Blue Magic.
Oh, gosh. Blue Magic?
Blue Magic.
That does not sound like a good nickname to me.
No, that doesn't. It sounds like something that KD uses when he's chilling.
I was gonna say the reason I'm gonna say this is because I'm gonna go Tyus, and I'm gonna say
Which one?
Tyus just because Duke, but I don't know.
Ooh, and then Bridges.
Oh, I forgot to give you the
Jalen
two ways
Bridges.
too. Yes, I
Yeah.
forgot to give you the 2 ways too.
But you're gonna go with who?
I'm gonna go with Tyus because of the
Tyus
Duke Blue
Jones?
Devils. Yeah.
Incorrect.
Yeah.
This player also goes by Dr. Dre. Right?
This is really testing my son's fandom because
Right?
I clearly know.
How do you not know? How do you not get frustrated when Dr. Dre is not playing well? We're waiting for him to drop that new album, and it's just taking forever.
Is it not a repeat? Like it can't be a repeat of someone that I already said.
Repeat? No.
No. Okay, so it's not Morris. It's not Grayson. I'll go with Bridges. I'll go with Suns Fever. We'll go
Okay.
two-way Bridges.
Okay. That is also incorrect. He also goes by, he has 3 other names. And this is, I think, the next most challenging. Big Panda.
Big Panda. Oh, God.
Come on, your favorite player, Big Panda.
Mason Plumlee.
Incorrect.
Correct.
All right. Of the next 2, I think you'll get it here. Real deal.
Real deal.
Who is the real deal?
Oh, Bradley Beal.
There you go.
There we go. There
Shout
we
out
go.
to Dr. Dre, the Big Panda himself. I'm going to start tweeting this stuff. Let's go Blue Magic.
Blue Magic for
Blue
Bradley
Magic.
Beal.
Blue
Never
Magic,
heard.
get well soon. Get that
Never heard that. Never
injury
heard that.
overcome. And we need some Blue Magic to boost this team. I really think that people are just making these things up at some point.
Michael is 100% correct. Who comes up with these?
Yeah, exactly. Big Panda. Yeah, I don't know how he got Big Panda either. But the Big Panda. Go Big Panda. Yes. So another couple of players I wanted to touch on real quick because it was an interesting lineup, especially the start. Kevin Durant and Devin Booker started last night with a lineup of Ryan Dunn, Oso Ighodaro, and Colin Gillespie. I tweeted a little bit about this earlier in the week. Colin Gillespie is a two-way player, two-way contract. Two-way player makes it sound like he plays offense and defense, which maybe that's the reason why he gets the start. But right now, Colin Gillespie is starting for this team. Let me read you some of his numbers over the last handful of games. Against Cleveland last night, I believe that was actually his season high. 13 points. It's close to his season high if it wasn't. 13 points in the game against the Bulls. He had 4, the Raptors 3, and the Lakers he had 3. Last night he played just under 24 minutes, just under 26 against Chicago, just under 17 against Toronto, and just under 24 against the Lakers. How is Colin Gillespie better than Tyus Jones for this team?
So I think there's a lot of reasons that he's better for this Suns team.
Or I guess I should say for the starting lineup, right?
Yeah, exactly. So one, I think he's just, it goes with fit with this Suns team. Once again, James Jones, Matt Ishbia, whoever's in control of this front office has 9 or 10 of the same archetype or player on this roster. And unfortunately, that's not going to work, nor is it going to help in other aspects where you lack. So a player like Tyus Jones struggles alongside Devin Booker or struggles alongside Bradley Beal in those guard offenses because he needs the ball in his hands, right? You talked about Tyus with that Memphis team earlier in the stream when Ja Morant went down. The reason he was so successful with that Memphis team is because with Ja out, he was that main focal point, that main ball handler, that main guy that was commanding that offense. And with this Suns team in that offensive role, he can't do that because Devin Booker is obviously alongside of him. Bradley Beal is alongside of him, and they need the ball. And what we've seen with Devin Booker is his ascension with that passing and that distributing with Tyus Jones being taken out. We've also seen Tyus really thrive with this Suns bench unit because he can control that. And when you look at this Suns bench unit, specifically these last couple games, there's no other guards in that unit, right? There's no Grayson Allen, there's no Bradley Beal. It's wings, it's Cody Martin, it's Royce O'Neal, it's Mason Plumlee. If Mason Plumlee's healthy.
You mean Big Meal, Royce
O'Neal? Big Meal, Royce O'Neal, exactly. But those type of players, and he thrives better with those guys because once again, they can stand out in the perimeter, they can play down low in the post, and he can find them with those threat and need passes. He can sit on the 3-point line. He can be a better catch and shoot player. Colin just fits better because Colin is kind of very similar to Tyus because they're both, smaller distributing guards. But Colin, in my opinion, is going to work better off ball compared to Tyus, and he's also still going to get hunted like Tyus is on the defensive end because they are, out of those 5 players in the starting 5, the worst defensively. But I do feel like Gillespie could hold his own a little bit better than Tyus can. And like I mentioned, Gillespie is so much better, can create his own shot if he's gifted the ball or be off ball and get to his own shot to create his own shot. I trust him doing that more than Tyus does. And I'm just waiting for them to waive Micic and sign Tyus or sign Gillespie, because if they're going to make this playoff push and he's starting and he's looking good, they're going to need him.
You want him to release Vasa?
Yes. Bye-bye, okay. Vasa. Vaseline, Vasa.
Vaseline, yeah. Well, and, something for Colin Gillespie that's been nice to see. He was 3 of 3 from three-point land last night. Didn't hit one against the Chicago Bulls. 0 for 3, and it was 1 for 3 against the Raptors, 1 for 6. Trust me, there's a compliment coming here. So I'll put it this way. Over the last 4 games, he hasn't been hitting his three-pointers too well. But for the season, he is over 42% from three-point range. So having that, as you point out, kind of a reliable shooter who, again, we don't need more scores with this starting lineup, especially if Beal comes back and gets put back into the starting lineup. We don't need more scoring to come through when you have Durant, Booker, and Beal on the floor at the same time. So I think that's Tyus has actually been able to kind of go on a little bit of a scoring run. And 16 points last night, 6 against the Bulls, 15 against the Raptors, and 8 against the Lakers. So I'm kind of liking seeing Tyus off the bench. And, maybe that's just going to be kind of his career moving forward, is just like one of the best backup point guards you can get. Because he's just, I don't know, he maybe just gets hunted too much in these starting lineups. But we'll see. But, yeah.
I think he could be solid on this Suns team. I think he's best off the bench just because they have so much offensive creation. You look at a team like Washington where he was on last year, he could be a solidified starter on a team like that because there's not as many dominant ball handlers or people that need the ball. It's all like he can be like a starter on a team like that where he's kind of in control, where he's the nucleus, but he has to kind of, his play style is he needs the ball in his hands. He needs to play like that. He needs to be in total control of whatever unit he's running. So it kind of stagnates that when he plays with the starters. And also something that I want to kind of touch on is we cannot see Tyus and Colin on the court at the same time. I've seen it too much, and I don't understand why Coach Bud's doing that. But we saw that last night as well.
Coach is random.
Tyus and Colin play the same exact role. They do the same exact thing. Do not have them on the court together with Booker and Durant. Please do not.
Mm-hmm. Shout out to as my computer freezes a bit there, Saul, who points out that Collins plays at a fast pace and he's not afraid to go in and get rebounds. That's a great point. Over the last 4 games, he's had 16 rebounds. 16 rebounds. Tyus Jones might have 16 rebounds if you add up the entire month of March so far. So it's certainly Collins definitely going in, grabbing a few more rebounds, and just kind of, again, doing those little things that, as you pointed out, Cody Martin can't hit the broadside of a barn offensively, but he's doing the other things that translates into wins. And that's obviously what's, I don't know, turning the season around, too much to say there. I don't know, too much to hope for. But as was mentioned, so Oso got the start, Ryan Dunn got the start, and Colin Gillespie got the start. Ryan Dunn, 10 points, 16, 17, and 13, going backwards all over the last 4 games. And actually in that Sacramento game last week, 16 points. So Ryan Dunn, or Bol disappears from the rotations. Ryan Dunn, let's see, he barely saw the floor in March up until the last 5 games. Let's see, he had 10 minutes March 2nd, a minute 30 at March 9th, 27 seconds on March 10th, and then 16 and a half minutes March 12th. And then Coach Bud fell in love with him all over again, and he's been getting 23-plus minutes every game. Ryan Dunn, I guess he's got to be – you got to stick with him now, right? I mean, I still feel I'm starting to become more of a believer that the Suns fans have actually been coaching Bud on how to coach, because he continues to make the adjustments that the fans are screaming for. Like, you need a point of attack defender. Put Ryan Dunn in there. And finally, like 2 weeks late, he does. But then we can sit back and go, see, we told you. But
No,
what are your thoughts on the Ryan Dunn return?
I'm all for it. I've been preaching this forever. I've wanted Ryan Dunn integrated back into this lineup since he's gotten hurt. And I had a little stat that I tweeted out that I'd like to read about Ryan Dunn, where before this previous game, so this is not including the game versus the Cavs, but he got, before that, finishing the Bulls, he got his second 30-plus minute night of the year on December 23rd. For a month straight, he received more than 20 minutes a night, minus 1 game, making an impact for the team. Across those 16 games that he got over 20-plus minutes, in half of them, he scored double digits, and in 12 of them, he got a steal or a block. Ryan Dunn got injured on January 25th, and from that date to March 9th, Ryan Dunn only had 1 game in which he had DNPs across that stretch. The Suns' record during that span was a 7-13. Since he has been injected back into the lineup in the last 5 games, once again, this is before the Cavs game, he's had 4 double-digit scoring nights in 0 games without a steal or a block, where he impacts basketball. So I think that stat just goes to kind of tell you, once again, he does everything that the Suns need on the defensive side, rising up, getting those blocks, rising up, playing that defense on those top-tier offensive scorers that the Suns opponents are going up against. Clearly, driving and getting that big old slam in the middle of the lane, going crazy. I don't understand why he was sidelined, why he was benched. He does all those little things, impacts winning basketball, helps you on every aspect of the floor with his hustle and his energy. And he was completely just taken away for no reason because he was a rookie. I genuinely have no answer. And at the end of the season, I want to find out that answer. I don't know if we'll get that answer, but that is the question I think everyone wants to know, is why were these guys taken out of this roster?
Mm-hmm. It's it doesn't make a lot of sense. I mean, the only thing I could think of is, as you point out, did he hit some sort of rookie wall and just look gassed? But I don't think Bud's really that worried about that. And as John Voida, who's in the chat, pointed out, Oso played more minutes last night than he did during the entire month of February. So if he was at all worried about these rookies being exhausted from long seasons, he's certainly not showing it. He just, like I said, it's just like a scorned, girlfriend that's like, no, I'm mad at you now. I'm giving you the silent treatment for a while. And you don't quite know, like, if you try and say you're sorry, it doesn't really matter. And if you walk, you're not allowed to walk away either. So these guys just have to sit there and languish on the bench and kind of like, keep their mouth shut. And then all of a sudden it'll be like, I'm over it. You can play again. And you can play for over 44 minutes against the Cleveland Cavaliers. Go get them.
Yeah, exactly. I don't understand kind of the processing of this, right? Because you look back at this team, right? They've not had their first round pick this whole entire season. The main state of this team, the mindset of this team when Coach Bud was hired, it hasn't changed. It's been, we're going to compete, we're going to win. So I don't understand where in these translations of these lineups and these different rotations and having guys not play, especially rookies, right? The Suns could have traded these picks. They were rumored to potentially want to trade those picks in the offseason. They decided to keep them because they felt that Ryan Dunn and Oso Ighodaro could help them for their future and help them in the right now. And clearly that's been the case, as we've seen over these last couple of games. And the fact that they were even, shafted. Bull, someone who they signed at the beginning of free agency that they felt comfortable was completely shafted. It's just,
Mhm.
it makes you question what this team's like direction and understanding is between the Suns and Mike Budenholzer. Does Mike Budenholzer have a different path for this team than the Phoenix Suns do? I don't know.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense to me either. You know, another thing about Ryan that it's worth pointing out. So over the last 4 games, over 44% shooting last night, 64% against the Bulls, 44% against Toronto, 42% against LA. We know he's not a scorer. We know he's not a shooter, but he's doing okay at it.
Mhm.
I'll put it this way: from 3-point range, 40%, 50%, 43%, and 25%. I don't feel as nervous when he shoots as I did when Josh Okogie would have those open 3-point shots. So Ryan Dunn, man, I tell you what, I did not. I wasn't down on him. There's sometimes when the Suns have made draft picks. I still remember like Jalen Smith always stands out in my mind, just like when they're just like, oh, the Suns take Jalen Smith, and I'm just like, why? What? Who?
Yeah.
Why did we take him? I kind of felt that way about Oso because I didn't understand it at the time, but I was like, second rounders. I don't really know a lot of second rounders that pan out. Oso has been phenomenal. And Ryan Dunn, I was excited about that. I was excited, with the billing of best defender in the draft coming to the team. And I feel like both rookies, would it be too much to say that the Suns won the draft? Like here we are this late in the season, I know 70 some games in, neither one are going to get rookie of the year, but the Suns won the draft. Would that be fair to say from, if you think where they were picking and the value that they got?
100%. I think when you look at it like that, they definitely won the draft for what they needed as well, because they got 2 key players that are going to help them out. The front court has been a clear issue with this Suns team, dating back to even with DeAndre Ayton when he was on this team, with all those mismanagements with trying to trade him and trying to keep him and all that stuff, with Yusuf Nurkic going and getting him in that trade. So I think drafting a big was nice. Getting some needed defense along these stars was also very needed. And I think both of them have hit their ceiling, if not exceeded their ceiling and their projections for what they had going into the season. I know Ryan Dunn coming into the draft was projected just as a defender. No one really thought that he could develop this type of jump shot. And if he were to develop a type of jump shot, that would be nice. I remember saying that, hoping he could be kind of like a Herbert Jones type guy for this Suns team. And after the preseason and you see him shooting 60%, you think that, oh no, he's going to turn into this Kawhi Leonard, Mikal Bridges type guy, even better than that. And it's obviously cooled down, a little bit since then. But I do think that he has that potential to be one of these, top tier all impact defenders, similar to those guys like Herbert Jones, like Jay McDaniels. And regardless if that's with Booker, with Kevin Durant, with both of them, without them, that's a key vital piece you want, because that's very hard to find in today's NBA, specifically one that can, distribute offensively as much as he can too. And then same with Oso Ighodaro. I think he had a lot of issues with his frame coming into the draft. A lot of people were worried about his size. Kind of, is he going to play the 4? Is he going to play the 5? Is he going to be able to bulk up? But he's clearly been able to show you in his first stint before he got benched his offensive skill, but now recently his defensive skill with guys like Cody Martin and Ryan Dunn and plugging and playing. And I think that I've been saying that he could be the backup center for this Suns team going into next season. I think he's exceeded that expectation. I think he's well at that backup center position and potentially could even be the starting big or competing for that starting big for the Suns next season or for the future as well. So like you said, I think they definitely won the draft because both of these picks have definitely exceeded the expectations.
Yeah, I think actually that's a perfect transition. Let me ask you about the big man position. Nick Richards, I wanted to kind of look back too at this. So we won draft night. But did we win this trade? So obviously the Charlotte Hornets are not playing Yusuf Nurkic like we are playing Nick Richards. Nick's getting more playing time. He's starting. Yusuf is coming off the bench. He is playing, but in rotational minutes as kind of a role player. So I took a look at their per 36. And that'd be kind of the closest comparison I think I can make right now for both of them. One of them has 16 points per 36. The other has 16.2. The first guy has 14.4 rebounds. The other guy has 14.5. The first guy has 1.4 blocks. The other has 1.5. And the first guy has 5.1 assists, 1.1 assist for the second guy. Do you know who is who?
Oh, no.
Okay.
Definitely not.
Well,
Definitely not.
you're probably sitting there thinking, wait, so basically the same points, same rebounds, same blocks. The difference is the 5.1 assists versus 1.1. The answer to that is Yusuf Nurkic is the passer of the two of them, which we knew Nurk had that ability, but we also knew it wasn't as needed on this team with Tyus Jones, Booker, Beal, and Durant. Nick Richards is, they're not asking him to create offense. But do you think that it's, take away the whole Yusuf Nurkic thinks that it was toxic and didn't have a relationship with Bud, right? Take that away for a second. Did we win this deal?
Yes. And the main reason why I'm going to say this is they're producing the same amount where Nick Richards is making $5 million, where Yusuf Nurkic is making 18 and is the fourth highest player on the Suns. If Yusuf Nurkic is making 10 to 12, maybe even $14 million, I think it's, viewed as an equal type of trade. But the fact that he was the fourth highest paid player while the Suns were in the second apron, they were really restricted with making deals and stuff like that. And with a player like Nurkic not playing to his best capability, they needed someone else. It also gives the flexibility with Richards, I think, going into next year. I believe he's on a team option, if I'm or non-guaranteed deal. Non-guaranteed. Boss is on the team deal. So
right.
Lots of confusion. But I know that the three guys that they did acquire are either on non-guaranteed or team contracts. So the Suns have that flexibility to where they can either wipe the floor with the three guys that they got from the trades. I do think Nick will be brought back just because he makes around $5 million, and him and Oso, I guess, kind of contrast each other a little bit. Obviously, Nick kind of more the rim protecting, high flying, lob threat big, whereas Oso obviously the more low post scoring, passing, distributing big. So I think they can kind of complement each other well.
Mm-hmm.
I think that the Suns necessarily didn't lose. I would have liked them to trade Nurkic for Richards. I wish that had been the initial trade, and they could have kept Josh Okogie. Even though Cody Martin's been great, they could have found another deal to still add some impact defense. Potentially still could even gotten Cody Martin for Josh Okogie and not have given up that first round pick. But that's where I kind of stand. But I think that the Suns still did good value with getting Nick Richards.
No, I think, it's just a bummer we had to throw the pick in with it, but another thing to point out. So Yusuf Nurkic, when he was with the Suns, was shooting just over 45% from the field. He's a little bit better, just shooting over 50% now with Charlotte. Nick Richards, though, was shooting 56% with Charlotte, now shooting just over 61% in Phoenix. So although Nick is scoring 16.2 per 36, he's doing it much more efficiently than Nurk did. Granted, we're not sending Nick Richards out to the three-point line and getting mad that he's not shooting threes either. So I think Bud finally realized, hey, I can't do that. I do not have Brook Lopez in Phoenix. I do not have a big three-point shooting interior defender right now. Because he does like Bol shooting, but then he doesn't want to play him.
I feel like Bol compensates for that shooting that Bud misses from Brook Lopez, like you mentioned, because Oso hasn't been a 3-point shooter as well. I think I saw a stat where I was looking at it, comparing his stats. I think he has like a 0% 3-point percentage. So he's not even like attempting. He's not even going to step out there. Obviously, Richards isn't going to go out there. Plumlee, maybe he can convince Plumlee to take some threes. He loves Mason Plumlee. Maybe he can convince him. I'll give you an extra 2-3 minutes if you stick outside on that 3-point line. Give me one or two.
Please don't do it. Don't do it. Mason. Like, what's funny? I took a look at it because I've been trying to explain to myself why Mason Plumlee gets so much playing time. And I took a look at it. His win shares and his plus minus are among the tops on the team. So I don't know. Maybe Bud is just a super analytics guy and just like, that's why Mason Plumlee needs more playing time, generates more wins. But let's see. Let me ask you the final question before we get into prediction.
Richard, what's happening?
Actually, that's such a negative way to set up this question. Are we back, Bruce? Are the Phoenix Suns back? How much can we take from this 3-game win streak as we go into what is arguably the hardest part of the rest of the season? Or the hardest stretch for any other team is basically. I'm butchering this. The Suns have the hardest stretch coming up, more so than any other team in the league. That's a better way to say it.
Okay, I was lagging a little bit, but I'm pretty sure I'm caught up on what you were asking. So,
Yep.
Are we back?
We
Basically,
won 3 in a row. Are the Suns back? Should we win the title? Should we play in the parade?
I don't know if we're going that length of distance, but I think that we are definitely back. I think that maybe not back for this season, but we are back in good graces. You look at how disappointing this team has been, and you just want to feel some happiness, right? So I think this is the great happiness that we're seeing. We're seeing the players, like we said, the Suns fans are kind of coming out as that coach right now. You know what I mean? We're getting what we want. We're getting to see Cody Martin finally. He's making some great improvements. We're seeing our 2 rookies that we invested in and kept those picks actually developing and playing well. Not, playing good one game, then stinking it up. They are playing fantastic and right as well alongside of these star players. I'm in the great thing with everybody else. Take out Bradley Beal. Do not bring him back for the rest of the season. He's hurt. He's been coming back injured. Rest him for the rest of the year. It is for the best of this team. I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, he is going to help out this Suns squad. This roster,
Nacho in the chat. Let me check.
This roster right here, I'm telling you, with this defense is needed. We need these wings. And if you add Bradley Beal, you add Grayson Allen back into this rotation, it is going to shorten those minutes from Royce. It's going to shorten those minutes from Cody Martin, because we already know that.
Shorten the minutes for who? You mean Big Meal?
Big Meal, yes, Big Meal. I'm only referring to him now as Big Meal now. But Big Meal, it's going to take away those minutes from him, from Cody Martin.
I'm just imagining he gets a Big Mac or just a KFC bucket of chicken or something before games. Another big meal. That's why they call me Big Meal O'Neal, man. For each game.
No, I love it. I think that the Suns are kind of back right now. Obviously, I don't think they're going to turn up completely, but maybe they get the 9 seed. Maybe they give Sacramento a run for their money. Maybe they're able to get that home court advantage for that play-in spot. Do I think they're going to win their first round playoff series? No, I don't think that, unfortunately. But I do think that they can give some life, give some heart for this team, and also give the fans something to be excited for at the end of the season. Because if they see Kevin Durant and they see Devin Booker succeeding, winning against some of these tough teams in this schedule towards the end of the season, it's only going to push them to want to keep this core together, like I have been saying, of keeping these 2 together and still trying to build with them and giving them that one last shot. I truly think that what we've seen through these last couple of games, even versus the Cleveland Cavaliers team, you could say one game is one thing only, but I'm telling you, if you put the right team around Kevin Durant and Devin Booker, this team can do some good things in this Western Conference.
So I understand your point about Beal, to basically put that man on ice, let him come back 100%. And even when he comes back, say, why don't you sit back until you're 110%, Brad? But did you say it about?
I mean, can you be scary? Oh, I know you're asking me. Can it be scary? What do you think of this?
Grayson Allen.
You don't want Grayson Allen back? He leads the team in 3-point percentage shooting. Are you this down on Grayson?
So I'm not down on Grayson as a person or a player or anything like that. But like I stated in my Brightside article when I preached for Obi Toppin, this team has too many guards.
Look,
they have
Jeff Green is better than Obi Toppin. I'm just gonna say.
Obi Toppin had a game winner where he was falling away in the corner and had 30 that night. Obi Toppin is legit, and I'm telling you.
I did pick him to be Rookie of the Year when he was first drafted because there was a huge payout, and I was like, Obi Toppin's gonna show. That didn't pay off, but yeah.
But Grayson, it's not bad on him. It's just that once again, the Suns have Booker, who's a scorer, Durant, who's a scorer, Royce, who's a scorer, Gillespie, who's going to be sitting on the 3-point line, Tyus, who's sitting on the 3-point line. You have all these players that are going to play. And I guess you could kind of, maybe put Grayson in for some Tyus minutes, maybe cut Tyus minutes a little bit and split them. You know what I mean? But I don't want to see with Grayson, with Beal, with Mason coming back, them just automatically injected and taking the life out of this team that has clearly been the function that has been keeping us going over these last couple of games. In my honest opinion, Allen is very solid on the 3-point line, and he has games where he's very good at that, but sometimes he has those cold streaks as well. And obviously everyone on this team does, Royce has that as well. But
yeah, I feel like Big Meal is perhaps the streakiest of streaky shooters.
Big Meal has been the streakiest of streakiest.
You got to throw Debo on the court. I feel like you got to cut into Big Meal's minutes a bit and let Debo, G Money.
All right, I'll let G Money get out on the court. We can split his minutes between him and Debo and Tyus. I don't know if Tyus had a nickname, but we could split.
It was Ty.
Oh, Ty.
Yeah,
nice.
Nice. That's either going to be Tyus or Ty, and yeah.
Yeah, so Ty, you can take Debo's minutes and put them into Ty and Big Meals, I guess. 30ish combined. You want to give them 10 each? Go ahead, go do it. That's fine with me. Please don't bring Mason Black back. That's all I say, though. Just please, no more Mason. No more Mason.
That's it. Oso played so well last night. I think you can go with Oso and Nick Richards for the stretch run. Nothing against Mason. One of these guys gets injured, he is. I'm going to say this: he's the best third center.
Yeah,
in the league right now. But that's where he should be kept. He should be your third center, and love that minimum contract value. I'm with you on that. I don't know if I'm with you on the Bradley Beal. I can't find minutes for him, but I see your point. And I get the vibe right now. It's just like, hey, look at what we're doing all of a sudden without Bradley. But maybe it's best for the team. And if that's the case right now, that Bradley just takes his time coming back, I'm okay with it. I think Grayson would have enough value, especially on those cold, streaky nights, for a Tyus Jones or a Big Meal, that he'd be able to come in and give you 18 minutes and knock down a few 3-point shots. He's been pretty clutch. I'd hate to see his minutes completely dry up when he returns. So get well soon. I like this. Grey Goose Allen.
That's not his nickname on Basketball Reference. Should I submit?
No. He's a G Money Debo. But we got to petition Basketball Reference for Grey Goose Allen. He looks like a kind of guy that would just be like, yeah, can I just get a vodka martini? Like he just seems like a guy that would like just really like just pretty basic pure cocktails, I feel like. All right, so prediction time. As I pull up the schedule, we have on Monday, Milwaukee Bucks are coming into town. Then there's some team from the East Coast. You might have heard of them. Boston Celtics on Wednesday, followed up with the Minnesota Timberwolves on Friday. This is going to be tough. Where can folks find you, and what is your prediction for this 3-game stretch? Bucks, Celtics, T-Wolves.
Alrighty. So as you all know, I do the Celtics, and unfortunately, that Celtics team is going to be able to stop this Suns offense, unfortunately. So I'm going to go 2-1. I'm going to go positive this week. I usually go negative, but Kevin Durant, Anthony Edwards usually have these battles. Suns got absolutely embarrassed last time Minnesota came to Phoenix. And I think the Suns are going to look out for a little revenge. Give me 2-1 this week, losing to the Celtics. They're going to take down Milwaukee because they've been struggling. And they're going to take down Minnesota. Get up a little bit closer in that playoff and play it race. You can find me over on Twitter and at Blue Sky, Bruce Velez. You can also find me on YouTube, where I do work for Digest Media at Celtics Digest and Suns Digest. And you can also find me with writing for Suns over on at Last Word and at Bright Side of the Sun as well.
Side note, Bruce, real quick, did you know that this is coming back apparently as soon as today at some point?
Revealing the show on the sensual side. We both glow, let the passion roar, let the passion flow. In the sensual side, with the stars you know, what should you know?
We won't steal all of Kevin the sensual salutes thunder, but Kevin says he's back. He wants to do some more post game sensual salutes. So he's going to be locking in on that. We might be having a special guest that we'll be recording with potentially on Tuesday in the afternoon. We'll air that episode if we can get that all locked in. But somebody with the Suns franchise might be stopping by. So that might be a kind of neat deal because I will not be on the show next Saturday. I'll be in New Orleans for a bachelor party, which everyone's invited to. Let me just say that now before So Says Jay comes into the chat and goes, who was invited? I wasn't invited. So everyone is more than welcome to join me in New Orleans next week. And you can see a very cheap Pelicans game while you're there because nobody's filling that arena right now because the Pelicans are horrible. So, for predictions, I feel like I'm playing with house money after last night. We'll see. I'll go 2-1. I'll go 2-1 as well. The Bucks are just not as scary as I think we all thought they could be when Dame showed up, and that's kind of continued this season. The Timberwolves have kind of sunk a little bit, so they've kind of come back down to earth. But the Celtics, that's going to be the challenge. I'll predict a loss for now. But who knows? At some point, one thing that might end up benefiting the Suns in the stretch run, and I thought we might have seen it. In the end, we didn't. We played a very full-strength Cleveland Cavaliers team trying to win. But we might be running up against some of these top teams that start resting their players to get ready for the playoffs, which would only obviously benefit the Suns as we kind of go balls to the wall, Big Panda style. Shout out Dr. Dre and Big Meal. Debo in the house. We'll get that blue magic going. So I'm going to predict 2-1. And honestly, if we go 2-1, I feel like that would be a great freaking way to build on top of this 3-game win streak. So let's go for 3-0, but I'm going to predict 2-1 right now. You can find me at Fallen Founder on Twitter. And hopefully we'll have some great content for you guys next week. Thanks for stopping by Planeteers. And if you like what we're doing, check out in the description. First off, you can like the video. You can subscribe. That always helps as well. Or you can buy us a beer because Bruce is in Boston and beer's expensive. Even though you got that Sam Adams Brewery nearby, everything in Boston is expensive. So help Bruce have a drink, and I'll take one as well if you got a little extra. We appreciate you guys. Thanks for stopping by. And Al McCoy, take us home, buddy.
Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, stay with us as the Suns get set to shine here on their home court.
Here's Perry. Cigar Hurd. Here's the jump shot. Good! It's good!
Al McCoy with you courtside. Pumped up a three.
Shazam! He ties it. Hey, D.A. Al and Tim up here.
Happy birthday!
Right. Yeah.
I know it's the ball, but happy birthday, baby!
Here's Cameron Payne out on top. Durant, three-pointer straight away.
Shazam! I just want to take this opportunity to thank everyone in this arena this afternoon, to all of those that are watching and listening on radio and TV. Thank you for allowing me to tell the story of the Suns for 51 great years.
That pretty much wraps things up here. And for one last time, this is Al McCoy saying thanks for being there. Thanks for being with us tonight. And from the Footprint Center here in downtown Phoenix, we'll just say so long for now.